Good evening. We're here to talk about the Parkview Avenue project tonight, the 11th and 12th Street Roundabouts. You've come to the right place. There are sign-in sheets over there and some materials if you want to grab one. Please feel free to sign in. We'd really like to have your information, so if there's a question, we can get back to you at a future time. So tonight, I am Jim Hoekstra with the Road Commission, Kalamazoo County. Andrea Pike is here from our consultant at Hubbell Roth & Clark. They are doing the design work for this job. We also have several other staff from HRC. We have Ryan Minkus, county engineer. I know we got two board members floating around here, Tom and Mike. And I saw we have Libby as well from the township. So we've got some of our staff here. So I'm going to turn this over to Andrea, and she's going to walk us through, and then we'll circle back at the end for some questions, and we'll spread out to our tables.
I'll take a second here to introduce the other HRC staff. So as Jim mentioned, my name is Andrea Pike with HRC. We also have Nancy Fott and Chris Bauer, who will be available at the tables afterwards for questions. So the presentation tonight, we're going to go through kind of the project overview, what is included in this project, what's the scope of the road items, the schedule, impacts during construction, and then just some general roundabout information. I know usually roundabouts people have some questions. And then we'll open up the floor to some general Q&A. Then you guys can feel free to go look at the exhibits, and we'll be available for further questions at that time. So this is just a general overview of what the project area looks like today. And then these are some street shots of 11th on the left and 12th Street on the right. So 11th Street today is currently a four-way stop condition, and then 12th Street is stop control for 12th Street traffic only. So our project entails installing roundabouts at both the 11th and Parkview and 12th Street and Parkview intersections. We are also resurfacing the road in between 11th and 12th, and then on all the legs approaching north, south, west, and east on all at both intersections. There will be some new street lighting installed with the project. There's going to be some extensive utility coordination. There's a lot of existing utilities out there, which also will require some relocations to take place, and that will be happening ahead of the road construction project. With this project, the Road Commission has also been coordinating with Oshawa Township for a non-motorized path along the north side of Parkview Avenue, as well as a sanitary sewer extension. So one of the big questions usually is cost. What is this project costing the Road Commission? So right now the estimated road cost is $1,050,000, and they have gotten $600,000 in safety funding for the project. So this is an overview of what the two intersections will look like. These are closer views of each intersection, and this also shows the non-motorized path along the north side. There will be a crossing at 11th Street, and then it will continue over 131. So this comes to the kind of the Oshawa Township coordination piece. So they are installing a 9-foot wide asphalt path, like I said, along the north side. This will include concrete ADA ramps at the crossings. And then the sanitary sewer extension is connecting the new sewer along Parkview, which would be from Vienna to about halfway in between 11th and 12th Street, and will connect into the existing sewer that heads north along 11th Street. All this work for the township portion will be done in conjunction with the road work. Tentative schedule for this is next year, 2023, tentatively scheduling to start in April and wrap it up by fall of 2023. The goal is to complete and open both intersections by September 1st for schools. This project will be completed in 2 phases, and it is going to Parkview, through traffic along Parkview as well. 12th Street will remain open during this stage. This will allow the sanitary work to be done and start the construction of the 11th Street roundabout. So the detours for this will be Stadium Drive to Drake for Parkview, and for 11th Street down to N Avenue to 9th Street to Stadium. Stage 2 will then, we will close 12th Street. 11th Street would still remain closed during this time, and the detour then would just extend for the 11th Street down to Low End Avenue to get back to 12th, since the access at 12th and Parkview will be closed during that time to construct the roundabout. So now we'll get into kind of just some general roundabout information. What is a compact roundabout? So it's a circular intersection with traffic flowing in one direction, counterclockwise, with a center island, and entering traffic yields to the traffic that is currently in the circulating lane. The approaches are channelized with splitter islands to help deflect traffic to the proper angles as they enter into that circulating lane. And it's also designed to help slow speeds down as they approach the roundabout. One of the biggest questions is why roundabouts, right? It is one of the safest type of at-grade intersection. It deflects the angle of conflict. You have less conflict points than you do with a traditional intersection. Slower speeds, simplified decision making, helps to reduce congestion and delay, and it has better turn radii for trucks and can be an aesthetic improvement to the community. Roundabouts typically reduce fatalities by 90% and all crashes by 35%. So these are some different crash types with a traditional intersection versus a roundabout intersection. So you have the T-bone or right angle with a traditional head-on collisions and the left turns. With a roundabout, they're typically rear ends, side swipes, and small angles, not the head-on or T-bone style of crashes. So why not a traffic signal? That's a typical question when the decision is made to install a roundabout at an intersection. Well, here we have listed out the reasons for that. So it's comparing the signal versus the roundabout. So a signalized intersection is safe, yes. We're not arguing that. A roundabout is safer just because of what we just talked about, the crash types. They're less severe. Intersections typically have higher speeds. Roundabouts, you have lower speeds. Signalized intersections have high severity of crashes. Roundabouts, low severity of crashes. Delays with red lights, but the signalized intersection, that is reduced because now you just have yield control, so that there's no light stopping you, if there's no traffic, you can keep going. One way entering and one way exiting at these 2 locations, so simplifying the decision-making process. And then this is just kind of an overview of the defining features of roundabouts. So as we stated before, yield control. So if you look and no traffic is coming or no traffic is in that circulating lane, you are free to enter in the circulating lane without stopping, as long as you're slowing down as you approach. There's a center island, the splitter islands, as I said earlier, which help channelize all the traffic to enter into the roundabout. In this case, we will have some head access. Not all roundabouts do, but this one we do. Along with the central island, we will have what we call a truck apron. So it'll be a paved portion along the backside of the curb to help trucks and larger vehicles such as school buses, make those turning movements. And then signing and pavement markings. So depending on the traffic type and each intersection, the design vehicle, there's many different vehicles that are considered when doing the design. Some of these include trucks, school buses, farm equipment, emergency vehicles. So this is all something that's taken into consideration when designing these roundabouts. As I stated earlier, this is kind of a more detailed look of what the truck apron is, and in this case, both of these roundabouts will have truck aprons. Again, these are some pictures kind of showing how these larger vehicles utilize these truck aprons to make the turning movements within the roundabout. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Jim for some RCKC info.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. So throughout this process, as we go through design and construction, please feel free to reach out to us. We have the RCKC Connect, which is shown on one of our vertical things here. We also have cards at the table. It's a good way to reach out to us and connect with us. It's a good way to keep up to date on project information, so road closures, that kind of thing. You can sign up, you can get text alerts, email alerts, all of that kind of information. Very handy if you're trying to avoid construction in summers. Additionally, if you have questions for us and we're not at the meeting anymore, you can feel free to call us, our number. That should also be on some cards at the table here. We've got all this information. We've got our website, which has a whole host of information on it. We've got a Facebook account, and a Twitter account, and an Instagram account, and a LinkedIn account. And of course, we have our regular office building over at 3801 East Kilburn. So the other side of town, you can drop by, stop in, staff will welcome you and talk to you about whatever question you got. Additionally, we want to let you know that we are hiring. So if anybody needs a change of job or a change of pace, feel free to come on down. We're looking for some road maintenance operators, heavy mechanics, and seasonal traffic regulators. So just throw it out there. With that, we're going to open it up for any questions. We'll take some questions on the floor here, and then we will break out into our tables. We've got tables designated for 11th Street, 12th Street, detour, as well as township, and how to drive a roundabout. We have a presentation going there on a video in case you've never driven one. I know there's one just south here on 12th and Milton, so you might be familiar, but if not, feel free to go over there. We got some pamphlets and such, how to drive a roundabout, as well as standard normal FAQs of roundabouts. So stuff to pick up at that table. So with that, we're going to open up the floor. If anybody's got any questions, raise your hand. We'll call on you. We'll take a few questions. If you have a question on a particular situation, a particular property, that kind of thing, feel free to grab us afterward. It might be a little bit easier to talk about those one-on-one rather than as a group, as a whole. So with that, I'll open it up, and if there's no questions, we'll just break out. You can grab us, and we'll go about our questions. Yes, sir.
Hi, I don't have a question, I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I think the roundabouts are awesome. That one down here,
Texas and all?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Especially late at night or a slow traffic day, you just cruise right through it. So,
Well, thank you.
because this thing backs up really bad and people turn left.
Yes, it does. So I'm going to put the question into the microphone here so we got it on so everybody can hear it in case they missed it. His comment was that the roundabout down at Texas and 12th is great and functions well for traffic flow, and we don't have backups and whatnot like we do here at 12th and Parkview. So, yes, ma'am.
Well, I think it's a good idea, especially for Parkview, because this is a very dangerous intersection. But my concern is people heading west on Parkview coming over the bridge in icy conditions. How are they going to be able to slow down some of these roadways?
Yes, understood. The question is, in icy or winter conditions, With the roundabout being located just opposite a bridge and an overpass, limited visibility, how are we going to prevent crashes in those situations? Andrea, I know we are going to have a posted advisory speed, so we will tell people, we'll warn them to slow down for the roundabout that it's coming. Whether somebody reads it's a different matter, of course, but we are trying to, if I'm not mistaken, we're trying to flatten it out a little bit at the roundabout location. So we're going to try to, we don't want to build it at a slant. We want to try to flatten it out so people can stop. There's only so much we can do coming off an overpass, but we're going to try. Anything else I'm missing here? So we're going to try as best we can through design and construction to assist with that. But yes, that is a concern. With a roundabout being lower speed, hopefully people are slowing down for it. Maybe. On ice, yes, there's that chance. Yes, sir.
I'm with the 12th Street and Parkview. I mean, very obviously, the traffic that comes through is quite horrendous. But in the regard of inclement weather, the water shedding off of the viaducts coming down, right now it unloads in the properties that are off to the side of the road. There is, in that wooded area, a designated watershed, and also on the other side of the road. It appears to me, just from standing there and looking at it, that a lot of that watershed is going to have to be diminished in order to accommodate the roundabout, which means there's going to be an even greater issue with water shedding off the viaduct. That's a huge water collection area, I know.
Yeah.
Pump
So
basements.
the concern raised here is watershed areas. Will those be impacted with the project? I think at this point we are keeping the road south of where it is now. We're not moving it. We're not going to widen to the north, correct?
Correct.
We're trying to facilitate the path for the township going in on the north side. We're trying to conserve any grading there. We don't want to push the path out after grade and take out that watershed area.
Are there opportunities for drains there that could be accommodated by the sewer?
Yes, we will be improving all drainage patterns in that area. So with this, we're going to put in curb and gutter. We're going to have to drop in some structures and pipes, and we're going to have to route the water appropriately. So we will be working towards resolution of any drainage concerns. Certainly, we'll go back into our documentation, our service requests, and pull anything related to drainage concerns and try to fix it this time.
The other thing related is that's a three-corner, if you will, instead
Yes.
of four. And of course, it's not flat, which
Yes.
doesn't accommodate a roundabout really well. But also, besides the directional traffic, you've got three driveways there, one having to do with the church. And I'm being one of the pastors at the Kalamazoo Chinese Christian Church. The situation we already have is difficult. And I can only imagine that with people coming off the roundabout and trying to make a right-hand turn into our parking lot is going to be an increased opportunity for rear-end crashes, and then coming out of our parking lot to get on the roundabout is going to pose, it's going to be like coming off Pit Road and continuing in NASCAR, if I see it right. And we've been down there measuring, and it seems obvious that there's going to be some real issues there.
Yeah, the question here is about the access for the church, and that's really not a parsonage up front, but your two buildings there, right? You have the little house and then you have the church, so access to those facilities. Andrea, I know we are working through design now, so we are trying to look at this kind of thing. We are also negotiating for right-of-way, so this will probably be a discussion on those at those times. I don't have details tonight. Certainly something we can look into further with your facility and see if there's some way to accommodate better.
What do we do as a church or as a resident with that road being shut down for 8 months?
We will maintain access during construction. So even if it is brought down to gravel or whatnot during construction, we will make sure there's a way in and out to your facility. You may, obviously on paving days, you may have to wait a little bit, but we will make sure that there is access to all the homes up and down Parkview and Yes, sir. Yes.
So on 11th Street, I know you heard this, we have 55 miles an hour,
Yes.
which really means 65 miles an hour. Because I lived right there where you put the sign 2 years ago.
Okay.
You're gonna have people going 65 into that roundabout. And I see from your article, MLive, that this is gonna be this is gonna slow down the crashes and all that. I just don't see, without changing that speed limit, how this is gonna work.
Well, generally, the question is, with speeds on 11th Street, 55 plus, how is this going to reduce speeds at the roundabout or with the roundabout construction? So with a roundabout, generally having that deflection with the splitter items like here was talking about, the car has to slow down to make that turn. So if you've been down to Texas and 12, you can't take that one at 55 or the statute wouldn't. That being said, yes, the speed limit on 11th Street is currently 55. That, I guess I would say, if you have further questions about that, I can have dialogue with you afterward about that. That's kind of a different point than the roundabout itself. But yes, in terms of the roundabout, it should slow traffic at the intersection. That may not help further south of the roundabout.
Then also, like one other question.
Yes.
I've been paying attention because we have a lot of stuff that just gets plopped on us in this area, you know. What about N Avenue? I was reading where N Avenue was going to be reconstructed in 2023, so you're going to shut down the whole area for access.
The question here is about N Avenue and construction on that. Yes, that has been a project of the road commissions. We've done our design work, we've got plans ready, we are awaiting funding at this time. At this time, it is not scheduled for 2023. The two projects will not go on simultaneously, especially given the fact NWB to report this.
All right, thanks.
Jim,
Sir.
the roundabout on the 12th Street.
Yes.
You know the Parkview there is a slope, right?
Yes.
So the roundabout itself is flat. Otherwise, winter time will be very, it's not safe, right?
Correct. This is going to be let me rephrase the question. So the question is, there's a slope at 12th Street, and that's going to be very difficult for winter weather conditions. Yes, we understand.
So
And we are going to, it's a hefty task in putting on our designer here to try to level out that surface at the roundabout. We're going to have to do some interesting earthwork out there.
It tends to tilt towards the south.
It does. So we're going to have some grading, and on the south side, we may do a little bit of fill in those deep gully areas. We've already talked to consumers about possibly moving a pole. So we are going to try to flatten it out as much as possible.
So please already think about it, right? Consider.
We're-
My following question is, when you talk about the timeline, you
Yes.
mentioned phase 2,
Yes.
12th Street is going to be closed.
Yes.
And that impacts to the access to our church.
Yes.
We won't access at that time, phase 2, right?
No, you will.
We will.
Yeah, but so the question was, during phase 2, when Parkview and 12th is closed, access to the church, correct?
Right.
So, yes, we will maintain access. It may not always be on a paved surface. There may be a time that you have to travel over a gravel surface to get to the church, in between when they're leveling it out and when they're paving.
Thank you.
But we will make sure, just like any residents on that area, that there is EMS service, access to driveways. We're not going to displace you also.
Okay, thank you. We don't need to move our church sign, right, during construction or after construction, right?
The question is the church sign.
At this time, no.
I don't believe we have anything with the church sign moving at this time. If there is, Andrew will be in contact with you, but I don't believe that's in the plans as of now.
That's good, that's good. My
Okay.
following question is the sewer line
Yes.
we are going to install, right? Our church currently, we have our septic system there. Do we have to connect to the sewer line when after install?
The question is about the sewer line and whether or not the church is currently on septic, if they're going to have to be connected to the sewer after it's built, correct? At this time, I cannot say what the township's position on the sewer and their connection methods is. I'm not with the township. That's the sewer is a township matter. I would urge you to talk to the township about that. Their public works department's very knowledgeable, and I'm sure that they can assist you with that question. I unfortunately cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, in the back.
Will these new roundabouts be excessively small like the one in Texas and 12th is?
The question is, will these roundabouts be excessively small like Texas and 12? do not believe that they will be excessively small. However, that definition of excessively small may be up to the person judging it. They will be very similar in size, I would imagine, to Texas and 12. So
You're trying to slow the traffic down, but there are times the traffic comes to a stop and standstill, which is not conducive to getting traffic to move.
Right.
And I was told that intersections made excessively small on purpose to slow down traffic. Trucks and buses can hardly make it around that at all. And making roundabouts that small is ridiculous. It's a waste of money.
okay. We will take that comment into consideration. At this time, I think we are building it about the same scale as Texas and 12, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
But we can certainly look into, how best to accommodate trucks and buses. That is something through our design process that we will be focusing on. But no, obviously there's a school here. There's several other facilities around here that have buses and trucks. We're gonna make sure that they fit through the roundabout. They may have to use the truck apron, which is as it's designed, but we will accommodate those vehicles.
I'm sure you've done traffic studies, and I've been to the Texas and 12th, but I've never seen traffic down there, just because it wouldn't happen to have been down there. But what is the traffic flow difference between and I appreciate your positive comments about the Texas 12th thing, but do they have this abundant traffic like that we're seeing here, or no?
So the question is, does the roundabout at Texas and 12 have the same traffic characteristics, the same amount of traffic as we're seeing out here on Parkview 12? Offhand tonight, I cannot say, but I would be happy.
You don't have traffic studies about
I don't
that?
have it with me tonight.
Okay.
I can pull that information if I was at the office. I would gladly take your information after this if you want. I can follow up with you.
The other question that's related in the regard of 12th Street here is this. You do have a a complete traffic light at Drake and 12th. So you come up over the viaduct. Why is there an issue? Why is there a difficulty in assessing the possibility of a three-way corner with a traffic light at 12th and Parkview, when you just got done stopping at a traffic light at Drake and Parkview?
Yes, and so the question is, why not a traffic light at 11th and Parkview, 12th and Parkview after just having the traffic
Drake.
signal at Drake and 12th and Parkview? At this time, a roundabout was determined to be the safer choice, and we did receive the grant funding to go that route. It is going to be a little bit better in terms of delay. So I'm sure some of you may live here and it gets busy at certain times of the day. A roundabout should assist that much better than traffic signals. Traffic signal, you're still going to have to stop, you're going to have to start. The roundabout should be able to push that volume through at a little bit better clip.
What are the studies regarding roundabouts and the issue of right-of-way of emergency vehicles and people getting out of their way as they're approaching the roundabout and they see red lights or blue lights flashing behind them?
The question is about the studies about emergency vehicles at roundabouts. Andrew, I don't have the information on that right now here tonight. I do know the FHWA has they have a wonderful website. They have pamphlets. I know they talk about emergency vehicles.
Because you
I
are
don't
talking
know if
about
we have them on
curbing.
hand tonight.
You're talking about putting curbing there. Is there going to be room to pull over to allow for the emergency vehicles to come by you where that curbing begins?
I would have to get into some detailed questions on the design for that. Andrew did just point me toward the video over there. Apparently there's a section of that video that does talk about emergency vehicles and how to navigate with those coming through an intersection. So perhaps follow up with the video afterward. Yes, sir.
Have you considered putting one roundabout at 11th Street and one roundabout at Drake, where the western entrance is? That would have a similar effect on slowing down the traffic without having two roundabouts bang bang right after one after the other. From a traffic flow and sanity standpoint, it might be much beside the bridge. There's a much longer sight line than going towards the 12th Street Church side of the bridge. So you might have fewer airborne smashed front end crashes in the roundabout.
Yes. So the question was potentially why maybe we should look at a roundabout at Drake and Parkview and 11th and Parkview instead of 12th and Parkview. I guess to that end, Drake and Parkview is a city jurisdiction. I can't begin to get involved with what their designs are for that intersection. That is outside our jurisdiction. We are working on the two at 11th and 12th because those are county roads. We do have a crash history here at 12, so we are trying to address that. We also have numerous calls over the years for issues with congestion, delay, people having to wait an exorbitant amount of time trying to go northbound and make a left or left down onto 12. So we've had a lot of service requests over the years in that regard, so we're trying to address all issues with the solution.
You know, the viaduct has to be a detail that I'm sure you considered, but wow, I mean, because you can't change that bridge.
Agreed, yes, we can't change the bridge. Yes, ma'am.
I have a different kind of question. I was looking at all the land you're taking, and I'm just trying to get an idea. I think I heard a 9-foot non-motorized path. There's a 10-foot truck apron. Is that on both sides of this?
It's only the central island,
So that's 20 feet almost.
but that's in the middle of the intersection.
Okay, so and you have those little splitting islands.
Mhm.
So how much wider is this road? How much are you expanding this road?
So the question is, how much wider will this road be with the new alignment of the roundabout and the islands, rather than what it is now? Right now, it's a 3-lane road at 11th Street, so that will help with how we utilize space out there.
Is it going to stay the same? The turn lane is going to, it's only 3 lanes?
There will not be a turn lane when we get done. It'll be one
So
lane
where's-
in, one lane out.
So it's gonna go, you're gonna go just 2 lanes, until you're like in the cemetery, and then you're gonna go at 55 miles an hour going, all right, we gotta spin? Is that-
Basically, the center turn lane will become that splitter island.
But it's that far down, it's gonna be that, how far out of the circle is this?
Generally about 75 feet, I would say.
I'm just trying to,
A little bit further, just depends. We're trying to avoid driveways, so we obviously don't want to carry that island across the driveway if we can help it, so we allow turning traffic like at the daycare. So we're going to try to cut that island short at that point, but certainly those are good questions, and we can address those. If you want to come over here afterward, we'll talk to you about those. Any other questions
I
for
have
the...
one question.
Yes, sir.
For the private property
Yes.
on the 12th Street, the little house.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not part of our church.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a personal property. The owner has concern that, when we add this roundabout there, you move our road there, walkway there,
Sure.
the property may be significant value being decreased, right? That's
So the
really the
question-
concern for the person.
Correct. The
He's
que-
out of town, so he did not
Sure.
here today.
Yeah. The question was about the property just north of 12th and Parkview. There's a little house right there, and what would be the impacts on property value of constructing the roundabout and securing the easements, grading permits, etc. Andrew, we have a firm, Commonwealth. They are reaching out to folks about easements, permits, so they should be in touch with this property owner.
Okay.
I know we've tried to meet with him in the past. We've tried to call him most of the winter. We met with the church once on site. But we keep trying to reach out to that property owner in particular. So if you happen to have his contact information, we'd love to have it so we can talk to him further.
Okay.
We'll be happy to talk to you afterward about it.
Christopher is currently in Texas.
Yeah, he'll be back at the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the eastern part, we need to talk about with our
Yes.
also.
So,
Yes, we'll be happy to talk to the property owner or affiliated parties about the easement. I don't have that standing up here, but we'll be happy to grab you afterward and talk to you further.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. The lady in front. Yeah, thank
Is
you.
there any way to move this 9-foot wide path to the south side of the road instead of carving up everybody's yards right there in the nearest the
It's
intersection?
good question. I support.
Yeah, especially if we're in 12, that little house that they're speaking of, that man's not here.
Yes.
His yard is going to be obliterated.
So I'm going to try to rephrase the question. I heard it bouncing around a little bit there, but is there a possibility of moving the path to the south side of the road rather than the north side to avoid everybody's yards and lawns, and especially the little house that's going to be impacted? Andrea, That would be a good question for, we could have that discussion with the township. Ultimately, it is their path, so we are working with them and trying to coordinate with them on that. I don't know if I have a lot more information at this time on it. We can certainly take that comment to
Well,
them.
as you look at the other side, the south side of the road, there's
Yeah.
no real homes right there. Real homes like
Understood.
on the other side, so you're basically just carving them.
What happens to the pathway at the viaduct? Does it continue or stop at 12th Street?
So just a quick touch on that one there. I understand. Libby, I'll be right with you. So as far as the path as it approaches the viaduct or the overpass, the township is looking at a way to carry that over the viaduct. That is still in flux at this time. I don't have anything to share with you on that regard, but as plans develop, I think we can probably, or the township can provide some information there. Libby, I know you had your hand up. I want to give you a chance. Libby with the township, so.
I just wanted to add that we are working on the design right now, and my Aunt Anna couldn't be here this evening, she has a sick child. So, but she conveyed that she's very attention to have another meeting about the path at a later date. But I can also add, in terms of the space that was just discussed, the cemetery, it looks like there's a lot of space there, but actually even where it's lawn, going up to Parkview, there are unmarked graves. So there's not as much room on the south side of the street.
Okay. So the comment was that Anna is not here tonight, but she will have a future meeting.
Yep.
Okay. So there'll be another meeting about the path, but there is a tight area to work with at Parkview 11th with the cemetery and some graves out there. So yes, and I can speak to that as well for Roundabout. That's been a concern for us as
Before you get
well.
to that part.
I'm sorry.
Before you get to that part as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the rest of that question was, who's going to be responsible for clearing the snow in the wintertime and ice off of this walkway? Is it going to be the residents?
The question
or-
is clearing snow off the path. I'm not entirely sure. I think that might be a good topic for the future meeting, but I can't speak to that tonight. I'm sorry. Yes, in the back on the bleachers.
I think this is more a question of the township, but is a 9-foot path necessary for the foot traffic we experience? It's very little. There's not a high density of people trying to move from this area to 12th Street. So I do feel that 9 feet is a bit excessive. Is there a possibility to convince you guys to do something more in line with a traditional sidewalk?
Please.
So the question was about the 9-foot path and if there's a possibility to go less. I'm going to take the path discussion, I think, and we're going to kind of, afterward, maybe that can be had. I don't want to hold up the group here too much longer. I do want to be able to break us out and allow us to ask questions individually. So I'll take one last question, then we're going to break
Yeah,
up.
I just said it's two-part. One is that you're adding lighting there. Hopefully that is paid for by the road people and not by the property owner. Generally, in Oshkosh, they give lake districts, charge the homeowner. Is that going to be paid for by the road?
In terms of, the other question is roadway lighting, who's paying for that? The road commission will pay for the initial installation of the lighting.
Then who pays for the lighting?
The long-term light of the lighting, the power consumption will be paid for by the township.
By the who?
The township.
So it'll be the property.
If
Okay.
that's the mechanism.
And also, who, like, you know, you said you could put fun things in the center. That is the road commission's property though, right? I mean, they're not gonna
Yes.
put in like a,
Not a statue or anything, no.
or none of the nonsense we have, okay, thanks.
All right, so with that, we're going to wrap up the conversation tonight here. We'll all be at the table, so feel free to come up and talk to us individually. We'll take notes, and if we can, we'll follow up with you later. Thank you.